Hi Year 9, welcome back to lesson 4. Today's lesson is called Renewables or Non-Renewables. Alright, so we're still looking at energy sources and we're going to have a look at what the challenges and opportunities are linked to both renewable and non-renewable. So what are the good and bad things about non-renewable and renewable sources? So today our lesson is due in on Thursday the 14th of May at 12 o'clock. Remember, you have to hand it into Teams because it's so much easier for us teachers to mark it on Teams. But if you really are having trouble with that, then obviously, of course, you can email your teacher. So same things apply. So first things first. So just write down the title and then we will get started. Okay, you guys know the drill. Let's do our quiz. So when I put up the questions, just write the answer. Okay, here we go. In the UK, the use of non-renewable energy is increasing or decreasing? Suggest a problem of importing energy from other countries. The term for when we use less energy to perform the same task is what? Energy consumption or energy efficiency. An example of non-renewable energy source is what? A disadvantage of using non-renewables is what? An example of a renewable energy source is what? And what is a disadvantage of using renewables? Okay, so just write down the answers now, guys. Give yourselves about 3 minutes. Okay, so get your green pens out then, guys, and I'm just going to pop up the answers really quickly. So remember to pause it if you need me to go slower. Here we go. All right. Well done, guys. Give yourselves a tick or change it with your green pen. Okay, let's get on with this then. So we haven't done one of these for a while. So in front of you, you can see figure 1, and this shows the percentage of electricity that's generated from renewables for different countries worldwide. So how much of energy is produced from renewable sources in each country? So you can see it here, it's different colours. And down here you can see the key, what those different colours represent, and they represent the percentage. So let's have a look at the question. Using figure 1, describe the link between the level of development of a country and the amount of non-renewables used. So you've got to really know your countries. Think back to year 7 and year 8 when we've been doing this, and think about how developed each country is, and then look at the percentage of renewables that they use. Is there a link? Alright, so what you've also got to think of is, can you think of any reasons why? So have you found a link? And if there is a link, are there any reasons why? So give yourselves about 3 minutes and pause the video. Okay, so I'm not going to put up the answers for your tasks you've just done because we're going to just hand that into our teachers and they will mark that, or I will mark that for you. So moving on then to our main task. You can see here we've got a person in the red jumper there, and he has an opinion. He has an opinion about renewables and non-renewables. Let's have a look at it. Now he is a supporter of non-renewable energy. So he likes, if we remember what non-renewable is, he likes energy that is like fossil fuels, so coal, oil, gas, nuclear, all the things that you can't reuse and use it over and over again. So he likes those. But what are his points for this? Let's have a look. Let's read it together. It says here, We need to stick with fossil fuels. They are reliable and there are still significant reserves. That means we've still got lots of it found on our planet. Many people are employed directly, for example, via extraction, or indirectly, for example, a car salesperson. Let's stick with what we know and forget about the unreliable, ugly renewables which everyone seems to crave. Right, let's go over that again. So he really likes fossil fuels. He thinks they're great. Look, we really need to stick with fossil fuels. They are reliable. We know they work because we've been using them for many years, and that's what he thinks. And there are still significant reserves. So that means there's still lots of it on the planet. So lots of it found on the planet. I'm going to write lots there. Excuse my writing, I can't really do it very well. Okay, then he says, many people are employed directly via extraction. That means people are employed to dig it out of the ground if it's coal, or get it out if it's gas. Or indirectly as a car salesperson. Now what do you think he means by that? Well, he means that the non-renewable fuel industry is employing people to sell the products. So a car needs petrol. Petrol is non-renewable. So the person selling the car needs petrol for his job to work. Otherwise, he won't have any cars to sell. So he says, let's stick with what we know and forget about the unreliable, ugly renewables which everyone seems to crave. So he thinks they're ugly. What I want you to do then is write a letter back to him. And I want you to say how far you agree or disagree with what he's saying here. So do you think he's right, or do you think he's completely wrong? Or is he somewhere in the middle? Now you need to show an understanding for both sides of his argument. Now last lesson you started to do this when you were saying how far you agreed or disagreed with the statement from last week. So you need to write back saying whether you agree or disagree, but you need to show whether you understand both sides, whether you do understand where he's coming from and obviously why he's right or wrong. So on the next page, let's have a look at the success criteria. Okay, so what you've got to do is write a letter back to this man here and say whether you agree or disagree with what he is saying. In your letter, you need to write at least 3 paragraphs. You need to write how far you agree with the statement. So like you did last lesson, where you had to say, I completely agree, or I strongly agree, I am undecided, I partially agree, or I disagree. Whatever you decide, you have to say that to begin with. Then you have to give a point to back up your reason. So why do you completely agree, strongly agree? Why are you undecided? You've got to then, guys, use a chain of reason. I believe this because here is some evidence. Therefore. Next paragraph, you've got to say how far you disagree with the statement. Again, you need to give a point to say why you disagree. Use some evidence. Full chain of reason. Within those paragraphs, you need to give PLC, so give some place-specific information. So last lesson you wrote about Poland. You can use Poland as an example again. You can think back to a couple of lessons ago where we looked at gas in the North Sea. And then, for the last paragraph, you need to conclude. Do you agree or disagree overall, and why? Let's have a look at an example and see what you should be doing. Here we go. Let's have a read of this example right here. Dear supporter of non-renewable energy use, I can see why you think this, and I partially agree that we should continue with some fossil fuel use. For example, Poland has over 200 years worth of coal and employs thousands of people in this industry. If we stopped using coal, this would lead to huge unemployment. Therefore, a potential negative multiplier or a recession could take place in fossil fuel extracting countries, and nobody wants this. However, I mainly disagree as fossil fuels are a disaster for the environment. The biggest argument against them is the fact that they contribute to climate change. Money will mean nothing if we do not have a planet, so I disagree. Now, does this meet the success criteria? Let's have a look. They've started to make an assessment where they've written, I partially agree. Good, they've done the first bit. They've used PLC for their point. They've used Poland, 200 years. That's evidence. They've given another point here where they've said they employ thousands of people. They've developed it where they said this would lead to huge unemployment. They've used a chain of development here, a chain of reason, but it would be better explained why this was a problem. So why is this a problem? They haven't written that. They've just said nobody wants this. But why is it a problem? Next paragraph. Yes, they've done an assessment. They've said that they disagree. They've put a point there about climate change. But they haven't explained it. What will it do to the planet? Why will this not be good? It's too vague. And they haven't written anything else for the conclusion. So overall, the first paragraph, is really good. Second paragraph hasn't been developed and the conclusion is weak. Let's have a look at one more. Dear climate change denier, I completely disagree. Non-renewables might be efficient and reliable. However, they are not reliable if one day they are set to run out. This means that many years down the line, the lights will turn off. This will result in industry closing and locating to countries where they use renewable energies, such as Brazil. This could potentially cause the economy to collapse in places like USA and the UK. So I think we should move to renewables. Now hopefully you can see straight away that this doesn't meet the criteria, but let's have a look. Yes, they've made an assessment. They've put a point there about them running out. They've developed it. This means that. That is the development starter there. They've used a chain of reason. This means that. This will result in energy closing and locating. That's a good link. And they've used PLCs such as Brazil. But down there, that sentence there is too basic. So overall, the first paragraph is good. They don't have an other alternative view, an on the other hand view, and they don't have a conclusion. Right, here we go then guys. You can keep this up. There's some sentence starters for you. Remember to use lots of PLC, so lots of facts and figures from this lesson, from the previous lessons, to help you answer your points. So you should spend about 20 minutes, and I think for really good responses you should give at least a side of A4 writing. So 3 good paragraphs. Off you go guys.